let's talk about Jimmy because that's a lot more fun. What did you guys see from Jimmy these last 2 days?
Same with Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, like I said, the first day he threw the ball downfield a little bit. He had a nice touchdown to Travis Benjamin. He also threw another one up that in double coverage. You could see him taking chances, but yesterday he faded at the end of practice, and it again had so many chances to throw interceptions. I think it was Asante Samuel picked him off yesterday. Today, even in 7-on-7s, it was classic Jimmy Garoppolo. He literally rolls out of the pocket. It was coverage. There's no pressure. Tried to force a pass that was almost an interception. Then the next play, boom, he throws a touchdown to Kittle over the middle. And it's like this is such a up and down thing. It's a consistency thing. That was the epitome of good Jimmy, bad Jimmy right there in that spot. And that's literally something that 49er fans have been very accustomed to with his entire time as the quarterback.
Watching Jimmy Garoppolo so frustrating because, like Jason said, you'll see a pass that gets nearly intercepted by the middle linebacker, and then next he'll throw a perfect pass to George Kittle in the back of the end zone. And I think, Grant, you're the one who started the good Jimmy, bad Jimmy, and that's really who he is as a player. I don't know where the Deebo Samuel injury happened with the soft tissue. I believe it's a hamstring that they're calling it. But the play that sparks my attention is when he tried to air it out to Deebo Samuel down the sideline, but it was criminally underthrown, and Deebo Samuel had to stop his fade route to try and come back to the ball, which was ultimately incomplete. And with Jimmy Garoppolo, like they say, oh, there's a mean Jimmy or mad Jimmy out there. There's a new different Jimmy here at camp. No, it's the same Jimmy. It's the same guy we saw in 2017, 18, 19, and 20. There's no difference. I think Trey Lance isn't magically going to get this guy into a Pro Bowl. He is who he is. And eventually, I think Trey Lance will a starting role if not week 1.
Dang, Leo went to like 8 different frequencies at the end there. You sounded like an AM call. Anyway, but you made some really good points. I don't know what happened to audio at the end, but you sounded good. I was like, hey, he's calling from prison all of a sudden. Oh, wait, hold on. You just went into analog mode. Anyway, Splash Cousin, you're up.
So I think the biggest thing with Jimmy is just consistency, because I think you've been there for all the camp. You've seen it, Grant. He actually has had a few, especially situational drills. He's had some impressive throws that have taken me by surprise. We're 3rd and 8, 3rd and 13, and he finds a guy downfield. He's able to throw it over the middle. The problem is he immediately follows that up with a throw that just probably makes Kyle Shanahan want to throw his clipboard 30 yards down the field. Like,
in that sense, he has been consistent, man.
And that's what gets me, is that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
So when I'm evaluating Jimmy, I think, to be fair, he put out some throws the past couple of days that looked great, where he was hitting guys down the field. He was airing it out a little bit. He was taking chances. He just can't consistently do it. And I think what happens is there's this weird narrative that he throws a pick and gets better all of a sudden after. I haven't seen that at all in camp. He throws a ball that nearly gets picked, and it looks like he loses all confidence. And I think with his own teammates, it wasn't as bad. But what I saw the last couple of days was when he had that bad throw that almost got picked that was lower behind, the Chargers players were clearly, it was like the blood in the water type deal, where they could kind of sense that he wasn't feeling the most confident he could be. And the biggest problem to me is that happens in game situations all the time. So people write it off as, it's just practice, who cares? But that carries over into games. Yeah. And then when you're comparing him with Trey Lance, yes, Trey Lance isn't perfect. He threw a ball high that should have been picked, in my opinion, today, that one that short hopped the defender. But you're also getting so much big play ability with it as well. And that's the biggest thing to me that I think Kyle needs to look at, is both of these guys are going to be prone to making mistakes. They've both shown that they will occasionally throw a ball that a defender has a chance to pick off. But the difference is Trey Lance adds rushing ability. He adds the ability to throw downfield. He's willing to take chances downfield. And he just looks so much more confident throwing the ball. And I just don't think that it's a great sign when the rookie who's 21 years old, who has been in an NFL setting for, outside of OTAs, it's been 3 weeks really, and he looks more confident than the guy who's been in the league for almost a decade. The confidence and the consistency are the biggest issues to me with Jimmy Garoppolo. He just can't seem to string a consistent amount of confident reps together where he looks strong throwing the ball and he looks decisive in the pocket making decisions.
Yeah, the other thing, I was talking to Kyle Posey today about this on the sideline. He writes for Niners Nation along with Splash Cousin. He said, you know what? Something would be fun to chart how many of Jimmy Garoppolo's incomplete passes in camp were knocked down. And that's the like when he misses, it's usually a pass breakup or an interception. I don't know how he does it, but defensive backs get their hands on his passes a lot. I think part of it is that they know he's not going to go downfield, so they're squatting on some of his preferred routes. And two, he's really throwing a very off ball. Like if it's his first read, he can get some zip on it. But a lot of times if he goes to his second read, he's throwing off his back foot. So that's the thing I'm seeing from Jimmy. Like he's getting a lot of his passes knocked down. I like Leo pointed out, like this was supposed to bring out the best in Jimmy this competition. I think it's brought out the worst in him. He makes the same mistakes every day. He hasn't improved. I think he's getting worse. And I think what we're seeing is when he plays poorly in front of just the Niners, like it's not that blood in the water type thing where the defense is like frothing at the mouth. But when it's the Chargers, I mean, it is. And when it's another team, that's what it's going to be. And if he's going to be throwing interceptions this much, I don't think it's really even a decision for the 49ers. I think he's making the decision for everyone with his consistency. I mean, you say he's inconsistent. He's freaking consistent with the picks every day. Every day. It's been 4 days in a row. What the hell is this, man? He's getting worse as camp goes along. It's fascinating. I feel like, like it's kind of amazing to think about 2 weeks ago after like 3 practices, all those national media members saying that Jimmy Garoppolo was playing lights out. Like, hey, can we let this play out real quick? This is not even anywhere near over. And next week's open to the press too. Keneal says no more practices in front of the media, right? Wrong. NFL changed their policy this year. It's through the 26th. So this quarterback competition plays out next week too. Just want you to know. And it's ramping up to the point where do you expect Lance? Real quick, do you guys expect Lance to play with the starters in this game on Sunday? And if so, how much?
I do. I mean, for a little bit. I mean, I think that's a lot of how we saw today with the ones, because it's one thing for Trey Lance to take with the offensive line and run a bunch of, run plays, zone reads, things like that. He actually was throwing the ball today, and they were trying to show that. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely would expect that, especially if, Jimmy comes out and does what he did in the first drive of the preseason game with, 3-yard pass, okay, call back, and then check down, out of the game. It's kind of, okay, we know exactly what we're getting here. Why wouldn't we give the kid the unknown, and give him a shot? Especially against the defense that he's faced these last 2 practices.
Plus, the longer you keep Jimmy in there, the more likely it is he throws a pick. Splash Cousin, what do you think?
I think that ultimately you're going to see more Trey Lance because the key absence to me is Trent Williams won't be out there with the ones. And while I think Jalen Moore has done admirable for where he was picked and the fact he's a rookie, Trey Lance is much more likely to evade any kind of pressure. I don't think that they're willing to risk Jimmy going out there and getting hurt for multiple reasons. I think they do want him on the roster. There is a chance he starts. But also, if he gets hurt, especially if he gets hurt in a bad way, they lose any kind of flexibility to move on from him should they decide in the coming weeks that, hey, you know what, we're just going to go with Lance. Maybe they find a trade partner or something. So I think Jimmy will get kind of a similar load. He'll get that first drive. And regardless of what happens, unless they go 3 and out right off the bat, he might get 2. But I think the rest of the first-team offense will be out there for the majority of the first quarter. So I don't think that there was any coincidence that today Lance got an extended look with the ones. And I think that it ultimately is something that, while, Kyle is going to understand the strength of each of these guys, there's never going to be a fair evaluation while Lance is running for his life behind that second-team O-line. And while the first-team O-line does have its issues too, the difference is incredible. Like, you cannot fairly evaluate the way Trey Lance has played. And the fact he's looked as good as he has looked behind such a shoddy line that's been just being abused all camp by 49ers D-line, and then the last 2 days, like the last couple of days, the Chargers defensive line was giving him work too. Those guys were not holding up well for the most part. So I think ultimately he'll get probably the most of the first quarter, and then they'll bring in a second team and he'll play through about halfway through the third quarter. I think he's going to play the majority of this game.
Good. I like that. Timothy says, do the Niners have a dedicated quarterbacks coach? If not, they should. Wise investment, I think. Yeah, Rich Gangarella, they just brought him back. I don't know if he ever played quarterback, but he coaches him. I don't know if he's good at it, but he's employed. But yeah, it's his name. 2 for the money says, will Kyle trade Jimmy this year, or will he eat the $27 million to keep him on the team? That's interesting. I mean, if they can bench him before week 1 and keep him as a backup, I would think they could get him to like take a pay cut. So I wonder if it's trending that direction. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Could be, but I mean, at the same time, Trey Lance would have to be playing beyond anybody's expectations for them to get rid of him, because no matter what you think about Jimmy Garoppolo, he can still operate this offense with some level of competency. That's something that wasn't seen when he went down, like with Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. So I mean, the money thing I understand, but the idea that your season won't go to hell if something, God forbid, happens to Trey Lance or something like that is something that Kyle and those guys are ready to keep around. But anything could change, especially if a team comes and blows you away during the year. And wants to overpay, then yeah, how could you say no to something like that?
Yep. Hold on, we can't hear you. Oh, we lost Splash Cousin. If you want to come back, leave and come back in, that might fix it. I'm just saying. The Jedi says, I think Niners need to start Trey and clean up his mechanics. My question is, do you take any trade value now and just make the trade for locker room sake? No, I think they need the backup, don't they? They need. I mean,
yeah, I would
him.
think they would. Yeah, I would think they would, at least right now, just to see, again, like you said, this is far from over. There's still going to be many practices. There's still 2 more preseason games, including the dress rehearsal. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out right now.
We got you. You there? I think we can hear you. Well,
I don't know what happened. It cut out a little bit. My apologies. What was the question, Grant? I'm so sorry about that.
Someone says, oh, the previous one. Hold on. The one that I think you said you had something you want to say to that one. Hold on. Just a sec. Oh, it was, will Kyle trade Jimmy this year, or will he eat the $27 million to keep him on the team?
I think ultimately they will keep him on the team simply because I don't think it prevented them from getting the Warner deal done, re-signing Williams, bringing back the, Kyle Juszczyk and Jaquaski Tarts and K1 Williams. Like, they brought back their core players. If it prevented them from getting any of those guys, I think he would have been cut a long time ago. But I think the way Kyle's looking at it is he doesn't want to get into a situation again where he has a team that's capable of winning games and you're basically having Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard level quarterback play that's ultimately costing you. And while I think Nick Sudfeld has done a really good job in camp, I could definitely see a scenario where they would eat the $27 million just knowing, even if Trey Lance starts, if he gets hurt, especially when you factor in the fact that he's probably going to be running the ball a lot and being utilized as a rushing weapon, I think the insurance is there. But if somebody comes to them, if a desperate team comes to them and is willing to give them a first-round pick or even a second-round pick at this point, I think that they would be foolish not to listen, and I think they would have to seriously consider it. But I think the situation where they're just hanging on to him this year, and then at the first chance they get, he's probably gone next year. There's no way I could see any path to him staying on the roster next season. Beyond something, like a long-term injury happening to Lance or something like that, should he get in and play. There's just no reason to keep him. So I think they ultimately will, simply because the past couple seasons have gone so wrong when the quarterback play hasn't been at least average. And while Jimmy does have his faults, I think he does supply some level of baseline competence that most NFL backups wouldn't. So again, he's not going to go out there and win you games, but he can at least be a guy that can play like a 20 to 30th ranked quarterback in the league, and the rest of the roster is so good they might be able to rattle off 8 or 9 wins should he have to play a large number of games.
Achilles Westbrook says, I saw the pump thing Grant was talking about with Trey. It looks off, but it seems to freeze the defense while he goes through his progression. Yeah. You notice that thing? Like I said, he often does like a little pump fake check swing kind of thing. I feel like that's one thing that kind of contributes to him getting sacked or holding the ball a little bit longer. But today he got sacked once. He got through his progressions quite efficiently, I thought. I don't know if you guys saw the same thing.
Yeah, and that's the point, right? Even if you go ahead, you got it.
No, I was going to say, he worked with the first team offensive line, and I think that helped him tremendously to not see as many sacks. Because what you said, Grant, the second team O-line is 4 stringers, like Tom freaking Compton's out there, and you know how I feel about him.
Tom freaking Compton. What are you gonna say,
the
Jason?
thing is, that's what we were saying. Indecisiveness on 7-on-7s, and a kid who seems to go through his progressions, even if maybe he should do it a little bit better, maybe I guess a little bit faster. I guess it's still happening. It's not happening the other way. And who's the rookie and who isn't at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everyone's saying, I feel like the before we move on, I feel like the standard right now is from some people is that to show that he's ready, Trey Lance has to be essentially perfect. And meanwhile, nothing Jimmy Garoppolo does bad in practice counts because it's only practice. It's like that's not fair.